so let me put this one off really quick. I found out I forgot to do an introduction of the video, so I'm doing it right now. It's not for this train where I'm at right now, but it's for the Intercity I took from Rostock in Germany to Berlin in Germany. This train continues to Dresden and it starts a little bit northeast from Rostock, I think. I forgot the name, but it will pop up somewhere in the screen right now. These are the Intercity 2 trains in Germany, so these are double-deck Intercity trains. You find them on several routes in Germany. However, on this specific route, it's a little bit a different train than on most Intercity 2 routes. I won't tell you too much because you can just see it on the video. I hope you like this video. When you have any questions, just write them in the comments below. I will show you the railway station for Rostock really quick. I arrived there by ferry, by the way, from Sweden. Of course, I took a bus and an S-Bahn first because the ferry doesn't arrive directly at the railway station. This is kind of a pity. And then I will show you the train and some views from the train. I hope you like this video. When you do so, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. And when you like to see more train and ferry related videos, subscribe to my channel. For now, let's start with this video. Just a quick message before I start this video. If you're interested in other trip reports I did, below the description of this video on YouTube there's a link to a map, and on this map you'll find all trip reports I did. There will be a whole lot more new lines soon. The lines to indicate the routes and the station and ferry icons to indicate the station and ferry terminal review. As I mentioned, I arrived in Rostock with a ferry from Trelleborg in Sweden. Since the ferry terminal is not directly at the railway station, I took an S-Bahn to here. I will make a video about the ferry as well and also how to get here. Right, in the main hall, actually in the tunnel where you find the access to the tracks, there's a toilet, but apart from that you won't find a lot of facilities in this tunnel. Instead of that, at the front and the back of the railway station you'll find most facilities. Rostock Hauptbahnhof or Rostock Central Station, Rostock Main Station, is a category 2 railway station. What means this is the second highest ranked railway station you can find in Germany. And it's an important railway station for long distance trains, but also commuter trains. Right at the front of Rostock Hauptbahnhof there's a pickup and drop-off zone for railway passengers by cars, and right next to this you find a taxi stand. Maybe I didn't saw it, but I didn't find dedicated bicycle parking garages. Instead of that, there are places at both the front and the back of the railway station where you can park bikes. But let's go into the railway station again. If you enter the railway station, you'll find this screen that will host information about departing trains. There's a Reisezentrum, what stands for booking hall, an information desk, and something really funny I saw over here was this service store owned by DB. So basically a convenience store that was being owned by the state-owned railway company of Germany. A little more towards the platforms, there's also an information point for the local public transport, and of course you also find vending machines. In this railway station you won't find escalators, only elevators and stairs. So if you're traveling with a bike, like you saw a little bit earlier, you might have to queue up a little for the elevator. I shot this on an early Sunday morning, so it was not that busy. At the other part of the railway station there are some lockers, as you can see here, and when I go up at this point there's also a bus stop. The screen on the top right of my screen gives information about departing buses from here. Actually, I've only been here when I changed from the ferry to the trains, but I don't know Rostock at all. Have you been here and do you like it or not? Just let me know in the comments, might be worth a visit someday. At the back of the railway station there are some more shops, not as much as at the front. And of course there's also an information screen with information about departing trains from here. The trams can be found within the tunnel that will guide you to the tracks for the trains as well. The tram is located right under this tunnel. And I think this is really good integrated. I really like this. At the underground tram stop there's also a big departure screen for departing trains from this railway station, and information about departing trams is also given digital at this specific platform. Despite the fact that this is a category 2 railway station, what means this is a network station for long distance train traveling, this is not a very big railway station. Everything has been very well directed, so it ain't difficult to find the platforms. When I entered the platform, my train was already there, so I couldn't film the train coming into the railway station. However, I filmed the departure and I will show you this in a bit. If you're traveling in Germany with long distance trains, a special train composition display can be found at the platform. There will be some letters at the platform and the display will refer to these letters. For example, F you can see here at the front. Because I ran into the train straight away after I saw the picture for my YouTube thumbnail, I forgot to show you this. I just prefer to go into a train as soon as possible, especially when it's at the beginning of the ride and it's not that busy. I just prefer to film in trains when they're not that full yet. It was quite busy at the moment this train arrived in Berlin though. Before I show you the interior, let's have a quick look on the outside. Of course, numbers 1 and 2 do indicate the first and the second class, and the first class has been indicated with some extra yellow sign. Because these are electrical multiple units, the combination is fixed. Therefore, coach numbers but also what seat numbers can be found where will be written permanently at the side of the train, and digital LED screens will host route information. Icons like where you can park bikes, where you can enter the train when you have a wheelchair, or where you can find the kind of dining car will also be written at the side of these trains. And when you enter these trains, you will find these screens that will host route information but also give you the carriage number. If these screens will not be in operation for whatever reason, you can find this information directly under the screen as well. Before we take a look at the interior of these trains, let's just have a quick look on a map of where you can find all these double-deck Intercity trains, also named as Intercity 2. The dotted lines do indicate the routes where there are occasional trains, so a couple of times per day or a couple of times per week, and the straight lines do indicate the routes where you find 2 trains per hour in both directions. Of course, for most routes, these Intercity trains are not the only trains on these routes. Most routes you can find for a big part of the routes other long distance trains as well, and also local trains will share these same routes. However, there is one thing that's not exactly the same on all routes, and that's the kind of double-deck Intercity trains. I will not go into details yet about this, but on the section Warnemünde, Rostock, Berlin, Dresden, that's the route that I'll be taking today, these trains are different than on other routes. Once again, I will tell you why a little bit later on in this video. You find a mix of different composition of seats. You find some sofas, for example, as you can see right here, some seats that do face each other with a big table in between. There's also a lot of space for luggage, by the way, between the carriages. And most seats do come in an aeroplane or touring car coach versus long distance bus composition. You can take your bikes within these trains as well. I didn't film it that well, but you can see it here on the right. But if you take your bike, you're obligated to make a bike reservation. It is possible to make a seat reservation. It's not automatically included in your ticket. But if you're traveling for a long distance, I just recommend you to make a seat reservation. And especially on busy days and hours. There's one part in car 2 that's in lower deck that's dedicated for people traveling with mobility problems. And right next to that you'll find the family area. This is a special area for when you're traveling with young children. There is no toddler compartment in these trains. As you can see, there's really a lot of space for luggage over here, and you can also lock your luggage as far as I can see. Screens are basically at every door, but also at the end of most compartments. They will give route information, and sometimes the speed will be displayed here as well. There are 2 spots in these trains that are a kind of like dining cars. Well, it's basically a vending machine that hosts some snacks and drinks and beer, and 2 vending machines for warm drinks like coffee, hot chocolate and tea. If you want to order something that contains alcohol, you should go to the railway staff first and they can verify your age, because it should be legal to drink, of course. One downside, you can only pay with cash money. This is the menu as it is in August 2021. If you want to have a closer look, then just pause the video. Of course, you cannot expect too much out of these vending machines. I do have to say, these vending machines and kind of dining car experience is only on this route with the Intercity 2 trains. On all other routes you will not find it. So these vending machines can only be found on the route Warnemünde, Rostock, Berlin, Dresden. On all other routes where you find Intercity 2 trains, there is something like a dining car. The menu is not that different from this menu from what I understood, but you will be served at your seat. By the way, I did another route on one of the other Intercity 2 trains, and there will be a trip report on my channel about this as well. However, since I might take these trains on another route soon, I just want to see if I can make better shots, because the shots I took for that video are not that good. This is an open compartment of the second class in another area at the lower deck. The middle seats with a table in between are a little bit different than at the upper deck. There are small luggage racks above the seats, but there are big luggage racks at the end of these compartments. There are special garbage cans at the end of each compartment to recycle, and free Wi-Fi is available, although I didn't test it. And first class can be found in one part at the upper deck, and this is in coach 6. What doesn't make a lot of sense when these trains only have 4 cars, but this is coach 6. First class comes in a 2x1 configuration and just gives you a little bit more space. I didn't test the seats though, because it was a little bit too busy. The sofas in first class look to me exactly like the sofas you find in the second class. Just like most double deck trains, you have a little bit more space for your luggage at the lower deck than at the upper deck, but I really have to say, you also find really a lot of space at the upper decks in these trains. For long distance double deck trains, I think when it comes to luggage, these are one of the most efficient trains. Between the carriages there are quite a lot of spare seats. Some of them are folding seats and some of them are seats like you can see here. But let's take a look at the toilets. These are how the regular toilets look like. Not really big, but pretty okay. There's even a urinal. There's also a bigger toilet that can be used for people traveling in a wheelchair, and you can turn into a nursery space for babies. And that's near the compartment where you find the family area and the wheelchair area. Seat numbers can be found at the luggage racks, and a small display will indicate from where to where a seat has been reserved. This is how the second class seats look like when they are fully reclined. I do have to say, I'm a very tall guy, but still I didn't find it that spacious. There's quite a big fold out table as well, and a magazine rack. When I put the reclinement of the seats back, I do have some more space, and this is also pretty comfortable. You can recline the seats with this handle at the side of the seat, by the way. And something where this train is an absolute winner is having one power plug per person, both in first and second class, and all armrests can be put up and down, of course. You also find sunscreens at all windows, and coat hangers can be found between the windows at the side. The seats that do have a table in the middle do have a power plug right under the table at the side near the window. Before I will continue the video, show you some views from the train and explain you why these trains on this route are different than on other routes, I'll show you a graph that shows the environmental impact when you travel on this route by train, car and plane. On the parts of the route that I'll be taking today, so from Rostock to Berlin, the plane is no alternative. When it comes to the impact on the environment, but also the travel time, the train is the absolute winner on this route. Apart from the environmental issue, you can take a lot of luggage in the train, there's a high frequency, so why should you even consider flying? It's just no alternative. For now, I'll show you some views from the train between Rostock and Berlin. Even though these trains are capable to run 200 km per hour, the maximum speed will only be 160 km per hour. If you're interested in the views from the train between Berlin and Dresden, or the main station of Berlin, so Berlin Hauptbahnhof or Berlin Central Station, you can check out the video I've made on the Eurocity between Berlin and Prague. It will pop up on the screen right now, and otherwise you can find it in the description of this video on YouTube. For now, I'll show you some views, and after that I'll explain you why these trains on this route are different.
Inside out, you got me right where you want me. It's what
Before I end the video here at Berlin Hauptbahnhof, so Berlin main station, I will tell you why these trains are different. The train I just did a trip report on is a second-hand train that's been bought by the German state-owned railway company DB. At the moment these trains were only 2 years old, so basically these are new trains. Before that, these trains were being owned by the Austrian private railway company Westbahn that is competing with the ÖBB on the route Salzburg-Vienna. Westbahn will sell the entire fleet to the German railway company. These are all the type KISS trains made by the Swiss train manufacturer Stadler. And as far as I know, Stadler makes very decent trains. Due to low interest and a big order the Hungarian state-owned railway company placed at Stadler that could be mixed with this order of Westbahn, it was cheaper to buy new trains. And the German state-owned railway company DB could use a big part of this fleet straight away. At this moment, as it is in the summer of 2021, these double-deck Intercity trains made by Stadler in Germany do consist of 4 carriages, but there will be trains that do exist of 6 carriages soon. When Westbahn made this contract, there were 2 possible builders for these trains. Stadler, the Swiss manufacturer, and CRRC, that's a Chinese factory. Stadler has won this contract, at least this is what we thought, but somehow in June 2021 this picture appeared at the website of CRRC. So apparently Stadler has won the contract, they will place the entire fleet, but there are 4 trains ordered by the Chinese manufacturer CRRC. I think competition between train manufacturers is good for both efficiency and also innovations. I know CRRC is making good trains, but somehow I just have some mixed feelings with a Chinese train manufacturer that is state-owned. And especially because the European train manufacturing industry is quite big, there are quite a lot of companies, very decent, and this industry also provides a lot of jobs in Europe. And of course, you also find trains in Europe that are not made by European companies and are not even made in Europe. Another commercial company, Leo Express, that runs trains in the Czech Republic and also to Poland, also ordered some trains at CRRC. I think we just have to see how things will develop. And these Chinese trains? Well, at least they look very nice. When I can make a trip report on a Chinese train in Europe, I'll definitely will do so. By the way, a little geek side note. My girlfriend is from the island Taiwan, and in Taiwan there are no Chinese trains at all. So welcome to Berlin main station. That's it for this video. From here on I will take a train back to the Netherlands again. I hope you like this video. When you do so, give me a thumbs up. And when you like to see more train related videos, subscribe to my channel. For now, let's go home and see you on my next video.